All right, guys. What a lovely morning. 3 a.m. I decided I wanted to watch this full BreadTuber video that Noah Sampson was complaining about and just was very weird in. But I want to watch it for myself. It's so heavily cut up by him. It's like hard to get the full context, you know, which is a benefit of doing lazier reactions like mine, because at least you can see the full context of what the person is saying. And that's what I want to do. I want to see actually what's going on, what their original criticisms are, what I do and don't agree with. In that like 20-minute Noah Sampson video, we got maybe like 2 minutes worth of the other guy's video. So this will be, in my opinion, much better. So let's just kind of get this started. It's from Rob's Media, and it's called Why I Hate BreadTubers. Let's burp. Just kidding. I'm trying not to. Let's go.
BreadTube, a loose and informal group of online content creators who create video content, including video essays and live streams, from socialist, social democratic, communist, anarchist, and other left-wing perspectives.
You know, it is interesting, I will say. I don't really see any conservatives doing video essays. I guess Brittany Venti, kind of. But I feel like it's a lot more progressives. I just kind of thought, maybe it's just like what it's in my sphere more. I don't know. Like, I see commentary content creators that are conservative, and so I just don't really see, like, video essayists. But
I've been covering some of the antics from BreadTube over the past year,
this guy.
And I think now is the perfect
I don't really know this guy.
time I do one big video going over my issues with these people. 6 issues to be
I don't particularly care for this guy.
exact, starting with 1. They're fake nice guys.
Ooh, fake nice. Kind of true. Typically, self-proclaimed male feminists are not. I like women. I like to advocate for women sometimes when they're not mouthing off. But I don't know, man. There's something uncomfortable with people who like label themselves as male feminists. I just find that they, more often than not, are not great people. But that's just been my experience.
A lot of these BreadTubers build a persona revolving around them being wholesome and empathetic to those around them. However, there are many
I kind of like Nick. I think that he's a genuine guy going through something. He seems to be genuinely apologetic about his some of the mistakes he's made, you know? So I like him. I think he's decent.
times the mask slips, and their true colors come out. Many are just as hateful as the people they criticize.
I don't really know what the criticism on Big Joel, Little Joel is. I like Little Joel. I like Big Joel. I've watched some of his content. I actually was going through like a whole phase where I was watching a lot of his content. I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. I don't really understand the criticism of him. Thank you for the 15-month small gut from Spunky Monkey. Hey, Mr. Gut P is flooding my pants. Wow, that's incredible stuff, man. I appreciate that.
The only difference is that they are much less self-aware and act two-faced. This also makes them morally inconsistent.
This guy, this is the Wendigooner. That one was like that was a trip, that video, I'll tell you that.
Which will be a common theme throughout this video. The most widespread example of this is how these creators align themselves with the body positivity movement, yet at every opportune moment, they'll make fun of someone's physical attributes. And I think it's fine to make fun of a public figure's appearance. My problem is the hypocrisy. My favorite case of this is with Jake Doolittle, who's made numerous videos on this topic. He spends half of his Fatspo video criticizing a 16-year-old girl with an eating disorder for saying mean things about fat people. He could have literally picked anybody else, but okay. He then made
Can you show us that? That's one of the things I remember as a criticism is like, yeah, I kind of need you to show me that. Like, can you show me a clip? Because I don't think it's unreasonable to be like, hey, you know, I can't just take your word for it. I don't really know who you are. You kind of have to give us more than, you know, he spent a lot of time doing, and he might have done that. I just think, you know, it's going to be easier to communicate your point that he did this bad thing if you just show it to him. You know, you're just showing us an overlay of him supposedly doing that. And so, like, it seems like there's no, I don't know the context.
a video on Orange Peanut, a troll YouTuber who's made numerous videos goofing on fat acceptance TikTokers. This video from Jake ruffles some feathers, because many of his criticism of Peanut is just him making fun of his appearance and his stutter.
Like, I understand that this guy is accepting of his, I don't know, armpit bruises. I agree. Maybe he could tell us how he's so confident in his small build. What's it like being 5'1"?
Yes.
I mean, here's the thing. I fucking hate Jake Doolittle. He's such a dingus. But here's my thing. You know, the way I go is you should be respectful of people. You know, I don't really dislike Orange Peanut. I'm ambivalent about him. He exists. I think you should be generally respectful of people. But if someone's being an asshole, then I think it's kind of okay to make fun of them. So, you know, if somebody's sitting here, and I don't remember the context of what was going on. I think I covered it a while ago. I don't really remember. You know, but I mean, if they're body shaming, we'll say somebody, and then he's just body shaming back. Okay, like, you know, talk shit, get hit kind of a thing. Fundamentally, like, I don't really care about that. I'm not like, you know, I'm not farting my balls over it, but
I do. I went through a bulk and a cut cycle. When I was bulking, I got very big because I ate a lot. And when
Why do you say yes they do like that?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
yes, I do. I
Yes,
went
they
through a bulk
he's got that weird, like, Brooklynish accent.
and a cut.
You know, making fun of my speech isn't very woke of you. It's not very politically correct. This is the exact same thing that Nick is not green did. He made fun of my stutter. I don't know why, but all these people who preach like acceptance, political correctness, wokeness, they do the same things at the end of the day. It's just they only do it when it benefits them and they know their audience is gonna like it. Everybody is a piece of shit at the end of the day.
Maybe again, if they're doing it in retaliation to your disrespect, then I don't really care about that, but
Just a matter of how.
As Peanut just said,
I feel like we're largely missing the context of this situation. So
Nick is Not Green did the same thing, while also discussing body positivity and acceptance.
I'm
I'm
looking
not
for
forcing
something.
women to talk about anything. And as far as boobs go, we like boobs. We don't talk about them for 3 hours straight.
Both of these guys got
I like boobs. I can agree with that.
ratioed in the comments, because their more normal fans hate it when they do this crap. Though Jake turned off the comments and edited out part of the video that made him look bad, that being the weird consent comment.
There's a possibility that you can't do certain things, like bench an unconsenting girl, right, Orange Peanut?
Yeah, I think I remember that. I remember Noah Sampson was like very dismissive of that comment, but like that is very inappropriate to insinuate that the guy's a rapist. Like, I mean, there's no context needed for that. You just shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, I don't know why Noah Sampson was so dismissive of that. I don't think it's funny to be leveraging, insinuations that people are sexual predators. Yeah, I mean, hot take, right?
Huh? You want to repeat that one for me, Jake? We went from nice, lighthearted roasts about appearances and background and content to all of a sudden you're accusing me of not caring about consent of girls? What the fuck is wrong with you? No, genuinely.
Again, there's that mask slip. Another prominent individual you'll see in this video
Hey, thank you for the 21 month, oh my god, 21 month small gut. Thanks for the late night stream. I was playing Mortal Kombat. Oh, very cool, man. Very cool.
is Ethan is online, who does this shit all the time. He commonly mocks others' appearances, despite pushing against that.
If I described to you a balding white man with a podcast who peaked in high school,
It sounds like me.
you'd probably be able to perfectly capture exactly what this man looks like. Sorry to inject him into your head.
It probably looks like me.
Why does he look like that? Why are his eyes yellow like a Sith Lord? Why does he feel like he was built in Detroit Become Human? Who is this man? If he shaved everything
Yeah, it seems like a pattern of Noah Sampson slandering Chud Logic. Like, yeah, it does seem like that.
but his mustache, he would look scary. He would look frightening. Beard is giving Easter Island silhouette. Yeah, he does look like, at some point out, he looks like from his profile, he looks like a crescent moon.
Yet when his appearance is criticized, he throws a hissy fit.
I don't like, I'm a little overweight. I don't like how it feels.
Yeah, me too. Me neither. Got to do something about it. It's the best thing you could say. It's tough because a lot of times you're trying to overcome like almost like an addiction or a dependence on something. But sometimes you got to try to bootstrap it a little bit, or go to the doctor and go on Ozempic.
So do something about it.
I am, asshole. It's really frustrating that your fucking audience keeps commenting that shit when I do.
Yeah, so I know that Isaac Butterworth guy is like kind of a dick, so whatever, him making fun of him again, I kind of had like the talk shit don't hit scenario. But like I don't understand how you could be like that sensitive as a commentary person. You know what I mean? Like you got to have thicker skin. I don't get that too much. Like how are you getting offended by this? Like somebody making fun of you, you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to be able to absorb the blow. Thank you for the 1 month small gut from Gravy. Thank you for the entertainment father stuffing. Thank you, I appreciate that. I just find it like a little bit bizarre that you would make those comments, because like when you do start making comments of people's appearance, even in retaliation, you're opening yourself up to other comments, obviously. So maybe you got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt there, bud.
I used to
Did
be
I never-
heavier, dickhead.
Did I
But it's
never
you
do it?
don't fucking
Don't
change
get
overnight.
pressure on me, Ethan. Now
I do. I'm cool.
you're the one getting mad.
You literally were just like, do something about it. Fuck off, asshole.
Why don't you flip off, brother?
It's mean. You're mean. When you talk about weight shit, you're mean, and I don't like it.
By the way, this dude flat out lied. He looked like this
Okay.
when he started YouTube. Noah Sampson
Well, that doesn't. This was one of the better points from Noah Sampson. He might have been skinny, then fat, and kind of cycled back and forth. Like, just to be clear, that doesn't mean that he's lying. So he probably does have like an issue with his weight.
is another BreadTuber I've covered before, who's also made fun of people's appearances and mannerisms, but there are even bigger examples of this dude being two-faced. He definitely portrays himself as a calm, understanding individual, just sticking up for
With like a weird fake stutter thing. So, I don't know.
disenfranchised groups. But this moral high ground he stands on is just for show. On Twitter, he's made multiple death threats, though if asked, he'll just explain it as jokes, like they always do. First is after he lost a debate to Vosh, with him liking a tweet where someone wanted Vosh to be put down like a dog. Then, during the super mega drama,
What I think was interesting, because he was, I remember Noah saying, and I think this gets close to where it ends for Noah's commentary, because he's cutting it up into 40 videos for reasons. But what I thought it was interesting is that he was like, that's just Twitter speak, basically. Those are Twitter jokes. It's an edgy platform. It's acceptable, and basically it's acceptable to make extraordinarily edgy tweets on an extraordinary edgy platform. Okay, if you're going to go with that perspective, fine. But then when he was going over Chud Logic, consensually sexting an adult, like an 18-year-old, all of a sudden, when he was using memes, because I noticed there was some like weird cringe meme language, all of a sudden, like boomer weird shit, all of a sudden he's like, oh, that's weird, that's weird. It's like, well, you understand the meme, clearly. Your defense of, yourself making edgy jokes is that it's a meme. So I feel like you should be equally charitable. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Noah wanted Chud Logic to be melted into a large cast iron cauldron. And by the way, the pedophile part is borderline slander. Even Keffels and
I mean, I'd say it is slander because the guy's not a pedophile. Do I think it's weird for like an for like a 35-year-old to like date an 18-year-old? Sure, but they're a legal adult, and there's a difference between being like, hey, that's weird, versus like, hey, you're a pedophile. Those are a little different. I don't know if you guys knew that. So there's a pretty significant problem there.
Xander Hall, who both hate Chud Logic. Don't think Chud is a pedo.
Chud Logic and all, he is not a pedophile, though. I am very familiar with the drama that happened where people tried to slander him as a pedo. I even spoke to him in private about that drama when it was going down, and got like the all the screenshots and info and everything.
Oh, okay.
He's not a pedo.
Here's where I'll make a
Yeah, no, it's not at all. And then I think Noah was like, he's actually an ebophile because he was attracted to an 18 or 19-year-old. I mean, here's what I don't, if that's the definition, okay, I don't think that he is, but I think that at the end of the day, Noah is desperate to cast him as a predator. When he's saying things like that, he's trying to be like, he's a predator. He's preying on his vulnerable audience. And I'm so tired of like this argument that you can't like talk to your fans. It's just stupid to me. As long as they're like consensual adults, I really don't see a problem with it. You don't either. You pretend to. Nobody's calling out groupies. Nobody's calling out like musicians who hang out with groupies or anything like that. It's always like, what about the YouTuber who's significantly less popular? What about them? It's like, it's the same thing. Sometimes people, girls especially, like successful guys or guys that they think are successful. So if you want to talk, like, who gives a shit? Who fucking cares? As long as they're not leveraging that power dynamic, and they're not like, oh, I will ruin your life if you don't send me your tits, or I will platform you if you send me your tits. Those are inappropriate things. As long as they're not doing that, I don't care.
a correction from the last time I talked about Noah. I stated that this tweet was what got him banned from Twitter, but what really got him banned was this tweet describing how he'd kill Elon Musk.
Base alert, guys?
This is the same guy making videos with his crappy bisexual lighting, ironically wearing maid outfits, by the way. These guys don't fool me. They're fake nice guys.
He's just in touch with his feminine side, guys. Okay.
To take advantage of their viewers, leading us to our next point. 2. They weaponize their audience. I've seen many instances of BreadTubers using their audience as either a sword or a shield. For instance,
I mean, did my game just disconnect? Or is this my computer? What's happening right now? Did my computer just crash, or is this the game? I think it's the... okay. Here's the thing, man. I think that a lot of... we'll say a lot of commentary audiences, to an extent, like, weaponize their audience. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of toxicity. Maybe they don't intentionally do it, but it seems to be a consistent pattern of very toxic individuals whose audience will bully the shit out of people. I see it. I see people on Twitter and different branches of the commentary community that are just like, there's a thing that happens, and they talk about it naturally. I do the same thing. But then they're on Twitter constantly tweeting or taking screenshots of other people's account, the person's account that did the bad thing, and they're just constantly like, look at this bad person, boom, boom, boom. And it's harassment. You know what I mean? Usually what they did isn't like that big of a deal. It's, you know, it's fine to call it out. But they don't have like a reasonable boundary of like, I'm going to talk about this on my stream and then I'm going to promote it, you know, once on my Twitter or whatever. It's just like an endless like boom, boom, boom. And it's like, to me, that's fucking insane. It's addicted. You guys are obviously addicted to fucking Twitter. And I think that's just super bizarre. And unfortunately, a lot of people's commentary audiences do that. You know, I don't think mine does. It might just be because I don't have a very large audience. So maybe you're just like, well, maybe they would, but you have a small audience. That might be true. I don't really know. I'm just saying that this isn't like a BreadTubes exclusive thing. I see people on, both sides with the same fundamental problem. So,
instance, they'll use them as a suitable defense against opposition, or to attack and harass those they deem irredeemable. My favorite example of the former is definitely the Balenciaga scandal, which I went over more in detail in my denims video. Basically, this fashion company posted some sus marketing photos, one showcasing a document relating to a CP court case, and others showing little girls holding teddy bears that have bondage on.
Yeah, I remember that. It seemed like they were trying to be edgy and like, oh, look at us. And it was just really creepy.
YouTuber Shoe1Head was pretty much the figurehead of this controversy, calling out Balenciaga's actions and giving updates. BreadTubers that she deemed friends, being Xander Hall, Demon Mama, and Denims, called her out for this with very bizarre reasonings. They all tried downplaying the controversy, while at the same time insisting it would negatively affect the LGBTQ community. This had nothing to—
I mean, listen, I don't know the specifics. Twitter is crazy, though. I wouldn't doubt that there were people on Twitter that were sitting there and they're like, see, this is all gay people for whatever reason. People are fucking crazy on Twitter. That is like the worst platform I've ever seen. It's not even worth trying to generate an audience from that platform. That's how bad it is.
to do with queer—
Because I've considered it before, and it's just, I don't think it's worth it, because it's just such a fucking psychopath platform. Like, when I go on there, all I see is like a bunch of like crazy racism and like fighting and porn. It's actually fucking unhinged.
people, yet they for some reason insisted that this will give conservatives fodder to spread hate. They don't realize that they are the ones giving them fodder by even implying gay people have something to do with this.
So, Xander Hall says, Shoe1Head on her way to once again use her massive platform to provide the neo-Nazis in her audience with fodder they can use to justify the murder of gay people. But this time, one day after an anti-gay terror attack. By the way, fucking based Xander Hall! Can we get some motherfucking hypers and—
I'm not trying to be rude. I thought that was Xander Hall talking. I'm not trying to say anything rude. I'm not. I was like, this is Xander Hall. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It's actually my new Loungefly Hall.
chat for Xander Hall having the balls and the spine and the giga chat energy to be a real trans ally? Because unironically, that's what—
Bro, I've given more money to trans people than any of these people, okay? I've looked at so much fucking trans OnlyFans, okay? Get out of here.
it looks like. Xander Hall out here fucking spitting and showing you all how it's done.
Calm down, dog. It's just a shitty Patrick Bateman meme. Basically, these people were waiting for a good opportunity to shit on Shoe1Head.
I mean, maybe there's truth to it. I don't really know. I'm also not interested enough to find it to like look into it, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
As I don't like the fact that she goes after both sides in videos. They use their audiences, which are filled with lots of queer people, to attack someone else by manipulating them into thinking the scandal will negatively affect them in any way. Vosh would use a similar tactic earlier this year, when his special folder got leaked live on stream.
When his horse folder got leaked live.
You can see this is an example of the kind of
And then Tipster and Keffels made it their personal vendetta to criticize Ethan for calling it out. Absolute Chad moment.
structure that I'm referring to.
If you somehow don't know what he had on there, it was AI-generated images involving horses and little girls, doing—
Was it AI? Well, they were just short stack goblins, okay? Just because they look 10 doesn't mean that they are not a million years old.
some pretty disgusting things. When
Biodegradable anime hentai demons, okay?
Ethan Klein and other YouTubers called him out for being a lolly enjoyer, he clapped back with this.
I like the part where he said this is a pedophile community. Yeah, did he say that with regards to there being a lot of transgenders here? Is that what he meant? Curious.
No, I don't think that's what he meant. Wow, Vosh really tried hard. That was pretty weak. He really tried on that one, but that just what a fucking loser.
It's not a pedo community because trans people are part of it. It's because parts of your audience are defending the fact that you're sexually attracted to kids.
Well, yeah, but the problem. This is what Vosh is doing in this instance. There are especially a lot of conservatives who try to make it seem like trans people and gay people are pedophiles, which they're not. Okay. You probably have a higher chance of finding a pedophile in a fucking church than in any LGBTQ community. So there is a lot of like anti-trans and anti-gay dog whistling and insinuating that they're predators. And so what Vosh is doing is saying like, oh, he's just playing into that. He's like, oh, maybe they just hate gays and trans peoples because they're criticizing me. That's literally what it is.
And have made numerous arguments for why CP should be legal.
So, there's pedophiles, right, who buy child pornography. Would you say they should not be held responsible for doing that?
Yeah.
Would you say that they should buy D's nuts in your mouth?
Yes.
Really? Even though they're directly supporting child rape?
Yeah, I think it's hypocritical. Because I bought my computer and
I bought my computer and the slave might have touched it, so that means it's okay to fuck kids. Incredible.
the silicon in it was farmed in Africa by slaves. If I can do that, and that's legal, and no one's going to call me out my shit, then yeah, I have to be consistent in that respect.
Yeah. Nice false equivalency there, douchebag. The difference is that one product can be made ethically, while the other...
Oh, we understand that, yeah. I get it. I'm tired of this specific criticism. I mean, it's valid. It's just like, so tired of Vosh.
Cannot. Vosh...
And also, you know, here's my thing too, okay, brothers and sisters? I'm tired of people telling me, every once in a while, somebody's like, oh, you sound like Vosh. I want to end my life when I hear that. People have called me a big, fat, fucking, worthless, lazy piece of shit. They've called me a lot of things. I don't care. When people insinuate that I have any real, genuine similarities to this fucking guy, I shit my pants. It's like, what? I don't think that's true. I don't think I look like this guy. I don't think I sound like this guy. I think that I am actually funny. Okay? All right, guys? I got invited to go on the Talk to a podcast. Okay? I'm just kidding. I didn't. Okay? I don't know, man. It just fucking pisses me off.
Can make the excuse that he's debate-brained all he wants, but that folder and the loads of other evidence that he's into lolly prove that wrong. It's just gross how he automatically thinks an attack on his defenders is an overall attack on trans people. One of those defenders was Keffels, who in my opinion is way worse than Vosh.
Keffel? Whoa!
It would take too long to cover all the awful things she's done, so
yeah, please don't. She's so fucking boring. Does she even exist anymore?
Summarize it as this.
Dude, you're done. I'm banning you from the chat.
She kept changing the story about her doxing, lied about which website doxed her for more clout, raised $100,000 for a supposed legal case, and then wasted the money on vacation and streaming gear, knew about the grooming that went on in her Discord.
And then I think she got bottom surgery. And I know I've said this multiple times, but like, why do you want to be like a regular girl? You know, I mean, just be a fucking, you know, best of both worlds. Why? You know, why wouldn't you want that?
Server, admitted to grooming minors, and promoted a site that sells homemade drugs to minors that has a lolly on the packaging. When Mudahar released his video showcasing the evidence for all of this, Keffels used the ultimate trump card, transphobia. She spread this lie to
She did it January 6th?
To her audience, stating that Muda used the wrong pronouns in the announcement tweet, and that the art in the thumbnail was transphobic. These claims are retarded as all hell, but
yeah, you can't say those words, dude. I'm crying.
Her fans believed it, and started going after Muda. They even made up conspiracy theories for how his
Dude, stop telling me I'm related to Vosh.
wife is some sort of fascist right-winger. Late last year, Jake Doolittle released a hit piece of sorts on Ethan Klein, basically accusing him of faking a health scare for money.
More like a based alert. I don't know what I'm saying.
In reality, Ethan did legit think he had lupus, and was very open about it on stream. Jake did this under the guise of defending those in his audience who have chronic illnesses like himself. If he made things personal like
maybe you should get a better illness, like being able to fucking skateboard, loser.
that, he knew his audience would be more willing to go after Ethan and ruin his career and
well, they weren't. To be clear. They were not willing to do that. He got fucking dumpstered. Let's just be clear.
Some way. This didn't end up happening, which I'll bring up later. But basically, Jake was once again using his Lyme disease to benefit himself financially. He also has a non-profit that sells branded merch. What the website doesn't tell you is that 90% of the profits from his overpriced junk goes to him. Only 10% goes to people in need. Jake had only admitted to this at the end of a few videos.
Also, if you feel like it, you can donate to the Never Stop Fund. 10% of all profits from the clothing brand go into the fund, so
well, it sounds like he's honest about it, so I don't really care.
Either way, you're helping people out.
If you're selling merch on a non-profit, you probably shouldn't be taking profits from it.
Just to be clear, like, I don't care as long as he's upfront about it. I don't really give a shit. Just to be clear, I just want you guys to know what a non-profit is. A non-profit still... okay, so my understanding, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, is a non-profit is an organization that the organization itself doesn't generate a profit. The people who work for it, though, still work for it and still make money for it. So... you know, in this instance, his organization, fucking, you know, shittyshirts.com, wouldn't be able to take a profit, but he would be able to take a profit. So, like, it doesn't really violate anything. I don't think he's doing anything, like, illegal or wrong. Again, though, you know, he was pearl clutching on Ethan, so I mean, it's fine if you do the same to him, but...
Kinda scummy, dude. It's more clear now on the website, but still. Sorry about that tangent. Anyways, I want to give one more example of these guys weaponizing their audiences with malicious intent. The super mega drama. I won't get too detailed into this.
That shit was crazy. But yeah, basically, super mega... I don't feel like qualifying it every time I talk about it, honestly. But super mega was not, like, in the wrong. Fucking... oh my god, I'm fucking ugly, fat, and stupid. PP Online's girlfriend decided to make a hit piece about Super Mega, where in like 20% of the video she talked about alleged sexual assault that she was engaged with. Dude, I'm actually gonna shit my pants. That had happened to her. Sorry. Anyway, but then in that she spent most of the time lying about her interaction with like Super Mega and how they were like at fault for it and they tried to cover it up, despite the fact that they they didn't talk about it publicly because this is her trauma to talk about, or alleged trauma to talk about. It's not there. They don't have any business doing that. Yeah, but she was still upset about that. And even though they blacklisted the guy she alleged sexually assaulted her behind the scenes to make sure he couldn't get a job anymore, they did the most that they could. So yeah, it was a whole fucking thing. And she got called out for constantly lying, so.
Because there's loads of other videos that do a good job at that. But basically, a bunch of YouTube...
Thank you so much for the $2 from Tobias F. Papa Late Night Stream. Love you. Hope you and Mama Gutter okay? Yeah, we're doing all right. Thank you.
YouTubers and streamers made statements accusing Matt Watson and Ryan McGee of some pretty awful things. Most of these statements were disproven, involving cheating and homophobia. But what stuck around a bit longer was the allegation spread by Lex Updog. She alleges that Matt and Ryan knowingly covered up her sexual assault by a channel artist, yet they showed evidence of her wanting to keep it private. Many of her other claims are also disproven, but Lex, her pal Nick is not green, and her boyfriend, Ethan is online, stayed stubborn. Throughout this drama, they pretty much used the topic of SA to motivate their audience to cancel Super Mega, even holding a live stream on Ethan's second channel to celebrate. This was pretty gross.
Yeah, they were doing like a countdown timer or whatever, like or excuse me, they were doing like an audience loss timer, like how many audience members they lost.
Behavior, especially when Matt and Ryan's late friend Daniel was brought up. Lex alleged that the two would make jokes about his passing, which they denied. Even if they did, who cares? They're allowed to make jokes about their trauma. I mean, Ryan...
Yeah, that was the point that I made. It's okay if they deal with it like that. I don't care. I'm not shitting my pants about it.
Was the one who found his body.
The person making these claims never knew Daniel. They definitely were not a part of the group that experienced the trauma of losing him. And I think, honestly, it is disrespectful to bring him up as a weapon. I felt like he was just brought into the situation for drama's sake to try to hurt me or Matt.
Yeah, I mean, they were angry that their friend took their own life. Taking your life is a selfish thing to do. Like, I understand it's more complicated than that, but that's what it is, and you're allowed to be angry at somebody who takes their own life. It's just a very sad scenario. You know, and I personally wouldn't tone police the way that people are talking about their own, you know, friend in passing, especially right when it happened, because you're never going to act perfectly when you're grieving, so.
Or hurt our image. I have done enough shit to...
That's why I think it's okay when, like, my dog died that I jerked off in the middle of that Coles. Because I was in the middle of the Coles, I know, but I was sad, and I was actually hiding in between the circular clothes racks, so nobody would see me anyway.
To tarnish my image, but I will not stand by and let someone talk lies about the way I talked or treated my trauma in regards to Daniel.
Though fans of the trio didn't care, and left various nasty comments on his goodbye video, so much so that the comments had to be turned off. Only Nick would apologize for this, and Ethan and Lex would remain adamant that all of their allegations are true. For someone who holds people super responsible for what they say, you truly are a hypocrite, Ethan.
And as a creator, spreading this kind of parasocial rhetoric and allowing it to be okay on your channel is not only irresponsible, but it's probably going to bite you in the ass one day.
But this isn't the only tactic these guys use to attack their opponents. They also love labeling them as full-blown extremists. 3. They dehumanize their opponents. BreadTube, being filled with many on the far left, view those of opposing viewpoints as inherently bad, even those who most would consider right-wing.
True.
Even the occasional left-wing personalities get called Nazis from time to time.
Well, I don't think Shuonhead is left-wing. I think, I don't know if I would call her right-wing. She definitely has more appeal to, like, a more right-wing audience, you know? But, I don't know.
They do this due to they're either with us or against us mentality, trying to draw a line between their side and everyone else. This instead alienates people and makes them more radical, which is not a good thing on either side of the political spectrum. I first brought this topic up in my Noah Samson video, as he loves to label his opponents as incels, red pillars, reactionaries, or fascists.
Well, just to be clear, some of them are. You know, like, there are incels. So, I'm not saying all of them are. I'm just saying there's a time and a place where it's okay to label somebody as an incel if they are an incel, right? Yeah.
An issue I have with this is that he doesn't properly define these terms, as he kind of throws them around all willy-nilly. I mean, there's this one video where he shows a cringy workout motivation video and describes it as this.
Like, I'm all for a little gym motivation, right? But why does it have to be a little bit fascist, you know? I don't know, it seems not great.
What does showing fat people as lazy have to do with fascism? You can criticize that video without making it so political like that.
I don't know the video that they're talking about, so I can't make a comment on it.
Another BreadTuber who unnecessarily used the term fascist is Big Joel, who made a video titled, "Conservative Comedy Destroyed My Life." In this video, he reviews the Nostalgia Critic video on the 1982 Pink Floyd film, The Wall.
Is that him? Holy shit. That's like the... When is that from? What the fuck? Oh shit.
It's a pretty bad video, and I went over why in my worst YouTuber song list, but Joel's criticism of it is incredibly questionable. I mean, Doug himself is not political, and neither is this video.
I don't really care. I mean, it seems like one video. I mean, I don't know. Is that just one video, or is it like a new consistent problem?
Really. Joel alludes to Doug being a liberal centrist, but then calls him reactionary as he dives into a contentious scene. The scene being parodied alludes to fascism, while the parody itself has a pretty pretentious message about cancel culture, but it wasn't intended to spread any sort of political messaging. This doesn't stop Joel from saying this.
Doug looks at a film about a Nazi who screams about murdering Jews and says, that guy's just like me. I'm gonna make a whole song about how much I love that guy. And that's not
based alert?
funny, at least not on purpose. It's sad.
Again, criticize the shitty video all you want, but you lost me when you tried to string together a political message out of it. Other BreadTubers use similar-
I don't know the real criticism. A lot of this video, unfortunately, is just this creator telling us something happened without any real meaningful proof of the context, so I don't know if it's true or not.
or tactics to create sort of a scapegoat for the opposition, in order to discuss the criticism.
I know some of the scenarios going on, so I can speak to those, but
During the super mega drama,
I think a lot of this video, kind of like, I don't know, what is it? Do you say it insists upon itself? I don't know. A lot of this video seems to be like you have to come into it either educated or hating these people in order for it to resonate with you in some capacity. So.
Nick would refer to his haters as Reddit debate dorks. The first time was indirectly in a separate video.
Today I'm wearing my scary shirt to make me look a lot more scary.
Oh, crazy.
There's too many Reddit debate bro dorks on this website trying to come after me every single day. So I thought I'd show them a little bit of what I'm made of. You know, do I look scary?
Sure, buddy. Anyways, he'd say something similar in an Instagram story, very clearly referencing Destiny, who began looking into the super mega drama thanks to Turkey Tom. Then we come to In Praise of Shadows, who I'll call Zane for the rest of the video.
That shit was fucking crazy, man. Thank you for the 20-month medium gut from Angie Toasty. Noah Sampson's face makes me mad for some reason. Hope everything is good, Mr. Guy. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Everything's doing pretty well. Can't complain.
Surprised I really haven't discussed or talked about him on the channel yet, though to be fair, a lot of channels did. I did archive the original video, so you're welcome. Basically, this dude makes horror movie videos, and made a really bad review of The Hills Have Eyes, where he compares the cannibals to American minorities. This basically sent him into a downward spiral, leading to the video.
Well, I mean, maybe he was right. I don't know. I didn't watch the video. Maybe he was right about that one. I have no idea. So
Bad conservative horror movies. Most of this video has nothing to do with the title. It is mainly a response to the hate he gets, along with being a hit piece against a bunch of YouTubers he has a hate boner for.
But that was the biggest problem, is this whole weird, like, Wendigoon hit piece was fucking bizarre as hell.
Main one being Wendigoon, who he describes as a fascist bootlicker.
Claiming to be very against the government and for the rights of the people, while at the same time giving a warm embrace to one of the biggest fascist bootlickers on the internet. And the only thing that one could
Was it Turkey Tom that was the fascist bootlicker?
reasonably gather from this picture of them hugging is that he too is a fascist bootlicker himself.
Dude,
A
Donut
poop
Operator is
licker.
a former cop, who occasionally criticizes other cops. What are you on about? A lot of this segment is just Zane trying to label all of Wendigoon's friends as right-wing fascists, despite most of them not being political at all.
I think one of the things that he criticized Donut Operator for was because Donut Operator talked about how, like, I think it was a confirmed pedophile was shot, and it's a good thing, which very true. And he's like, and he started virtue signaling like it was a bad thing. Why would anybody care that a fucking pedophile was killed? Who gives a shit?
They just like guns, and
And I don't think the guy is like trying to defend them in any meaningful capacity. I think it's a mixture between I think it's mostly it's a mixture between like kind of a newer age ideology of harm reduction, which I generally agree with. Like if somebody hasn't harmed a kid, I don't think it's unreasonable to say like, oh, you know, let's try to if somebody wants to has an attraction to kids and they haven't harmed a kid, I think we should give them mental health help. But after they've harmed the kid, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't want to see explicit and get in trouble. But I think it's a mixture of that, like but taking it to like the next level of like being a contrarian almost about it. So
Wendigoon himself is Christian. One of the only political YouTubers he mentions is Shu, who Zane refers to as this.
He is publicly friends with Shoe on Head, who is a conservative masquerading as a leftist, who has built a career off of lazy anti-woke content, complaining
I do lazy content as well, dude. Am I based or what?
about SJWs, who says stuff like, Karl Marx rising from the grave finding out his movement has been taken over by fat, ugly, mentally ill losers.
Weren't they always that?
Yeah, she was not a secret conservative. She voted for Bernie Sanders. Lumping these pretty average
I mean, again, she does kind of appeal to them. I don't think she's like a bad person. I'm just saying.
people as right-wing extremists is pretty hilarious, as this dude is an actual extremist. I mean, at one point he claims that Wendigoon shouldn't be allowed in public.
I liked when he was talking about how Wendigoon was dog whistling, that he was part of like a white supremacy group because he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And then for the whole video, he wore a Hawaiian shirt, which I assumed he's trying to be ironic about it or something, but it just comes off as stupid.
The beliefs Zane described him.
I care deeply about horror, and everything that he does has demonstrated so far in his career that he should not be welcomed in our spaces, or even, you know, just in public in general.
He also accuses Wendigo of being racist, strictly because of the area he lives in.
Based alert.
Deep Appalachia is very white country, and for the most part, is exceptionally racist. Genuinely in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you otherwise.
Oh, that seems wrong to do. I mean, I could understand somebody having their guard up and being like, I'm going to assume somebody's racist so I can, like, especially like a black person, to keep myself safe, versus, which I get that, versus just blanketing that and just assuming that he actually is a racist. Like, it's one thing to walk down the street and be like, oh man, let's say the area maybe is more racist and you're like some like a black person or something, and you're walking down the street and you see a white guy, or I could see why you might be like, oh, let me walk to the other side of the road or something, or stay out of their way because I don't want racism to happen to me, right? I do it to them anyway. I'm just kidding. Versus like, oh, online content creators from an area, he must be racist, so we're just going to assume that he is for the sake of this. This narrative works for me. Let's just assume that he's. It's just like, that doesn't really make any fucking sense to me. It just sounds like you want him to be racist so that you can just dismiss everything.
What would I call someone who judges another person based on skin color? Oh, I know. Racism.
Based.
Good job, Zane. Blindest people like you determining who's racist. Now, I really didn't see any other BreadTubers defending this dude, as this video was bad, even for their standards. Though these guys produce similarly bad faith videos, it's just never this blatant. Noah Sampson recently talked about Zane, mentioning that was just weird.
So in case you couldn't tell by the footage he's showing on the stream, this guy's referencing, it seems like In Praise of Shadows video about Wendigoon, if anyone's familiar with that. My audience might not be, but pretty weird video, pretty weird and bad video. I like that guy's videos otherwise, that was just a really weird video.
I guarantee you Noah's downplaying it, because his exposed videos are just as poorly done. I mean, his Cheeto video basically painted him as a terrorist for reacting to something from libs of TikTok.
Based.
He also accused Patient Xena of creating a right-wing pipeline.
I kind of like her. I haven't seen her stuff in a long time, though.
For not thinking racism wasn't the only reason people didn't like the Little Mermaid remake.
Well, I don't think it was the only reason. I think on Twitter it was the only reason, because Twitter's fucking psychotic. But if you go outside of Twitter, I think there are some people that are just kind of like tired of remakes that seem to just like do forced inclusion instead of make like a decent product, which is what it feels like sometimes. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of how it feels. It's like, oh, okay, another one. You know what I mean? You know, to me, it's like, why continuously change the skin color of a character? It's just so fucking boring. And I think people are allowed to want to have representation, even white people. I think it's okay for white people to be like, hey, like, that's historically ours. That's kind of shitty. Maybe, you know, they resonate with the character instead of just making a new character. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, we talk about how it's a little ironic because we'll talk about how Black history isn't very prevalent in America, and then instead of going to like, you know, African history and mythologies and trying to create really good, meaningful movies and shows, we just change skin colors of already established characters that are from other, you know, countries. It just seems kind of stupid and incredibly lazy. And I don't really think you're going to resonate with a character that was race swapped as much as like a brand new character with a really interesting and compelling story. But that's just my opinion.
And has made numerous attempts at dunking on Think Before You Sleep for being far right and doing bad research. These usually never work for him, and he even deleted the Patient Xena video earlier this year. They do this because at the end of the day, BreadTubers are only really looking to make their political team look good, not having nuanced or interesting discussions. Which leads us to our next point. 4. They treat everything as team sports. A lot of the hypocrisies in this community come down to them only caring about what those on the right or center do. If someone on their side of the aisle does something bad or questionable, they either look the other way or try to downplay it.
Well, just to be clear, that's what both sides do that. So that's like a common thing. It doesn't make it good that they do that. I'm just saying that this isn't like exclusively like a BreadTuber thing. You know, nobody was calling out Steven Crowder till it was safe to call out Steven Crowder. You didn't see conservatives calling out Andrew Tate until they were comfortable to call out Andrew Tate. You know, like you had Ben Shapiro and absolutely Andrew Tate and like Ben Shapiro have a similar audience. They're both conservative. But like Ben Shapiro, despite all the overwhelming amount of evidence, wasn't critical of Andrew Tate in any meaningful capacity, other than like, hey, you shouldn't make jokes about how trans women are hot one time. We wouldn't talk about all the sex work stuff in general, even if you don't look at the allegations as like whatever, of like all the sexual assault and the grooming, etc. Even if you don't take those seriously, I mean, like, he still did porn. He still sold porn. You know, that's supposed to be something conservatives are generally against, right? But once Tate didn't have the Ben's right take on Israel-Palestine, all of a sudden he was a bad guy that does sex trafficking and blah blah blah. So, you know, it's the same thing on both sides. Let's not pretend this is a left-only issue.
The most recent example of this is with the Ava Chris Tyson situation, with only a few BreadTubers covering it. If you somehow don't know, Ava has been accused of grooming multiple minors on Discord and buying lolly art.
Yeah, the lolly art's definitely true. They didn't groom anybody on Discord, just to be clear. Like, it's not grooming. They made some extraordinarily inappropriate jokes. Absolutely. They had, well, this might sound transphobic. They engaged in boy humor. Teenage boy humor. It's inappropriate. They are not responsible enough, in my opinion, to have a platform. That the conversations like that can potentially lead to some kind of taking advantage of a young person, but it didn't. There was nothing. There was no actual like evidence, or excuse me, there was no proof of like actual grooming. Everything was like extraordinarily edgy jokes, especially at a time on Twitter where people are really edgy and like these memes were funny to people. And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? It's not good still, but...
Among other things. While covering it on stream, Ethan is online decided to downplay it all by saying Ava was just posting some edgy tweets 7 years ago.
That part is true, but Ethan's never going to give you like an actual, like objective anything.
And that people change. He gets pressed for seemingly defending Ava and having some level of bias.
I will say that. I have a recency bias. I have a bias for shit that has actually happened in the last 5 fucking years. I mean, Jesus. It shows a bias. I can say that what Chris was doing on the internet in 2017 is fucking gross, unacceptable, but she doesn't do that anymore. She doesn't do that. It's not acceptable. I agree with you.
Okay, first off, bro, this shit is beyond gross. And second, these tweets go up to 2019, 5 years ago. Your recency bias should apply. Gross. And second...
What is this? What the hell is that?
These tweets go up to 2019.
What's crazy is 2019 was 5 years ago. It's fucking wild.
5 years ago. Your recency bias should apply.
That's a long time. It's, you wouldn't think, but that's like a long... I feel like that's a long time ago almost. Like fucking crazy how fast everything's going.
God, he looks like a Courage the Cowardly Dog villain. Also, Ethan doesn't clearly think that way, because his most popular second channel video is over 30 minutes of him criticizing creepy things Matt Walsh said a decade ago. And he even complains about hypocrisy here.
I think you should absolutely give people the benefit of the doubt that they have changed when you see them have an old take that's a bad take. But when you dig up something from 15 years ago on Matt Walsh and it's still perfectly in line with his worldview and there's no evidence that he's ever changed and he still thinks that way, and you can reasonably assume that he still thinks that way. And
I mean, that might be a good point. What was the take? Was it Matt Walsh's really weird take about like, like I think was it about like age of consent or something? I don't really know. I wish I knew what it was.
He's publicly saying these kinds of things. It doesn't matter how old it is. He might as well have said that.
This argument fundamentally is reasonable. I just don't know if it's being applied correctly.
Fucking clip yesterday because he's the same stupid incel pedophile fuck.
This is despite the...
I don't know if he's a pedophile. Jesus Christ. I mean, Matt Walsh is a dumb piece of shit, but Jesus, what the fuck?
fact that Ethan criticized Alex Rosen for his old pedo hunting tactics, which the guys improved upon. In Ethan's video on Alex, he points...
That's true. What's so interesting is that, like, Alex Rosen is very annoying. Because what Alex Rosen does is he seems to effectively get people caught, which I think is fantastic. The problem is that, like, he'll also post, like, weird racist and anti-Semitic shit on his platform. And it's like, if you want to help kids, which I think is great, why are you politicizing your content by occasionally making a video joking about Jews or gay people? I don't understand. And to me, it's reasonable for people to be like, what the fuck? And maybe sometimes feel like you're just doing this work to make it seem like, you're a good guy. I don't think that that's true. I just think that he's an edgy, fucking piece of shit. It's just like, dude, like, there's a time and a place. So wouldn't you want to handle yourself a little more professionally so that people don't have, like, this insinuation of you? I don't know.
Points out many times that Alex is conservative and tries to paint him as a creepy fuck. Though at the same time, he makes weird statements like that Alex was harassing EDP, seemingly sympathizing with a pedo.
He was sympathizing with, like, a pedophile. At one point, he was like, oh, they're making friends with this pedophile. Meanwhile, they were friendly with the guy so they can get into his house. The guy let him in and had a conversation with them and gave him more evidence for them to give to the police. And he's like, that's weird, that's creepy. And they're not even really talking to kids. They're actually talking to adults and pretending to be kids, so it's okay. The guy's a fucking weirdo. And then at one point, he criticized Alex for not personally giving help to pedophiles. Like, that's a system issue, bud. I don't know why you'd ever have that expectation of him, but okay.
And so he and his weird little cameraman are just harassing EDP and asking him a bunch of really stupid questions like, why do you do this, man?
Later, he criticizes Alex for not helping self-admitted pedos.
Like, this dude probably makes plenty of money off this shit, but he's not paying for therapy. He's not getting these guys into, like, a housing that's away from, like, anyone they could do any harm to, that has no...
I mean, a lot of these guys are beyond therapy and probably need to not be alive anymore, if I'm being honest with you. Like some of these pedophiles, like they, in my opinion, deserve capital punishment. Ones that are like offending. Like there was one that was like had pictures of his like daughter or something. It's insane. Like that person, I don't think is fit for society, and like they're beyond any hope at this point, in my opinion. I think it's kind of time to, like, why waste resources on somebody who I don't think you could ever trust around a kid or even in society ever again. What's the point? You know what I mean?
Internet, he's not doing shit, and he gets called a hero for it by hogs like Michael Knowles.
Yeah, the housing is called prison, which is where Alex is sending these creepy fucks to, since he works with law enforcement now. The fact that this dude is willing to go up to bat to defend literal predators just to dunk on some conservative is really bizarre to me, man. He could have just not mentioned any of the predator stuff and focused on the guy's beliefs, but no.
Yeah, he could have. That would have been perfectly fine.
Is it just because they're idiots?
Are they idiots?
Especially in that conversation, I remember Michael's like, Michael insinuated that most of the people he catches are Democrats, but then Alex was like, no, they're actually mostly conservative. I was like, oh, he's honest at least. You know, he could have lied and he didn't.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of them are, but you know,
Okay, Michael Knowles is a fucking idiot. And what kind of question is that? Are pedophiles because they're stupid?
This is the same guy who made a video trying to disprove
maybe, I don't know,
the gay groomer narrative, and then twisted it by saying Catholic conservatives are the real pedos, with his only example being a 50-year-old case of a gay priest molesting a boy.
It is pretty extensively.
Why is he a gay? Why'd you label him a gay priest? Pedophilia is not the same thing as, like, pedophilia is not a sexuality. So just because you molested a boy doesn't make him like gay. I don't know. Okay.
Documented how much of a pedophile defender Archbishop John Roach was. He literally had the sexual assaulter of multiple boys.
Good job, Ethan, defending gay people by listing off one of them as an example.
Yeah, this kind of makes you look bad. It makes you look like you think gay people are predators. Again, pedophilia, it's funny because this person, I guarantee you would say that a map is not a sexuality, which I agree with. That's disgusting. A minor attracted person is not a sexuality. That belongs in a sexuality spectrum. It's a fucking mental disorder. But then you're like, well, he was a gay priest because he molested a little boy. It's like, okay, so now you're the one saying that it's a sexuality? Like, I don't really understand. You can't have it both ways. Okay. It's not, I would say that, like, the existence of the infrastructure of religion creates pathways and avenues for people to for adults to predatorize kids. Fundamentally speaking, as much as you may love God, and I think God's a great concept, religion has been used forever to justify abuse. There were times where our religious texts were written in different languages that only educated people could read, so that the commoners were not able to actually understand the word of God, so they were easier to control and manipulate. We know that, like, the general structure is that, like, women don't have any rights in a relationship. All the concepts of, like, historical concepts of marriage are conversations between a father and a man effectively selling his daughter for some kind of, or as property for some kind of financial exchange, which is why their virginity was so important to them. And that if they weren't virgins, there were societies and cultures that you would have to, if you raped a girl, you'd have to pay the father a penalty, a fine for raping her because she no longer had her purity. When it comes to the one-on-one dynamics in church, when you have a priest who is the literal hand of God, or the person most closely and directly in contact with God, and you tell them that God could send you, have you like eternal happiness or eternal destruction, and that if you don't listen to the priest to some extent, that's the implication, that you could go to hell eternally. It creates a power dynamic that makes kids feel less confident about coming forward about the abuse that they're going under. When you make these priests or some of these people in general not able to have sex or have wives, that also can potentially create another issue. Yeah, I mean, like, there's, just to be clear, like, religion, I think God's a great concept. It can be, but it can be used destructively, and there's much more abuse in religious structures than there are in any LGBTQ community. There's societies, there's like non-Western societies all around the world that still act like this. There's no age of consent in the Bible. Once a girl is on her period, she's able to get married to an adult man and basically get put into a grooming rape relationship. Religion is unfortunately horrific when it comes to protecting children and women. So, I don't know. It's a little annoying when we have these insinuations here to do our best of our ability that, like, oh, look at this guy molested a little boy, he must be a pedophile. It's like, I don't really think that that's a sexuality. Number one. And number two, you know, religious abuse is much more prevalent than any type of pedophilia. So we see mega churches every single day where people ignorantly give tons of money to like extraordinarily rich people. They're just fucking stupid. So yeah, you know, just saying, something to think about.
Another BreadTuber who's been downplaying the Ava.
Yeah, that's true. The Bible was written by people, not God. And also, slavery is okay in the Bible. You might be like, well, that's different now. It's like, okay, well, then why can't we like gay people now? I don't really understand. If you could change liking slavery, you could make it so we like gays now. I don't really understand.
Situation is Denim's, and I eventually plan to talk about her takes on this in a future video. Basically, she spends 2 hours slowly reviewing the drama, and cherry-picking the lousiest evidence to show to her audience. She claims she doesn't think the art on Ava's wall was lolly, and dismisses other tweets she made as edgy nonsense. One called...
Well, I mean, that's definitely lolly. It's definitely inappropriate. You might think it is edgy, which I do think it's... Well, the art's a little, I don't know. It's just, that can be difficult to explain. It's a lot of charity to just say it's all edgy nonsense. But I do think a lot of it is like edgy humor, edgy boy humor, frankly. Okay, so
called out on her hypocrisy, she reacts with hostility.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
Slavery is okay in the Bible. I just wanted you to be very clear. Like, you're wrong by every objective metric. Slavery is okay in the Bible. Whatever you're reading that says it's not is a reframing. It is okay specifically for like the Hebrew people to enslave non-Hebrew people. That is true. You can just look it up. The Bible justifies slavery. I don't know what to tell you. I don't feel like going around like a revisionist history. I mean, if you really get deep into it, I was watching a video about how like the Holy Trinity isn't even in the Bible. There's a lot of things in the Bible that don't actually exist, that were later philosophical interpretations of people that are trying to change what the Bible means. I mean, there's a lot of things. You really need to start questioning it. But like, yeah, it's okay. Slavery is okay in the Bible, and there's no age of consent in the Bible as well. I mean, age of consent is when a girl's on her period. It's okay for her to get married and have sex with like an adult man. So just to be clear, you should really question your beliefs, functionally. And you could write them off to just bad actors writing the Bible in a deceptive way and not really utilizing God's word. And I think that's fine. That's what I do. But don't pretend that it's not in the Bible. The Bible is not like a particularly positive resource, unfortunately. You can get a lot of positivity out of it. I was raised religious, but the Bible in its purest form is not good.
One day after the former Twitch staff tweet about Doc, but now your narrative, why did we ban him? I was responding. But now your narrative changes when the pedo is trans. Did you... I think it's cute that you want to believe that we're not consistent, but we are. It's you guys that aren't consistent. I think buying a poster from this weird pedo-Nazi artist is...
Yeah, rape is okay in the Bible. Like, when the punishment for rape is you have to pay the dad money because you took away somebody's virginity. That's fucking insane.
Fucking creepy and strange. I also think a 33-year-old man trying to meet up with a minor is creepy and insane. But it's cute that you want to believe that we're not consistent on our positions.
She's referring to the Dr. Disrespect situation, which many compare this to for obvious reasons. Denims doesn't think this is as bad, despite there being way more evidence against Ava. When the
No, the Dr. Disrespect situation is worse because Doc was actually, from what we've seen, actually trying to meet up with, like, actually flirting with a kid and potentially trying to have sex with him. I mean, they quite literally said, like, oh, you didn't even check the age of consent in those areas, which insinuates that, on top of the fact that he said he was having conversations that leaned in the direction of inappropriate, which is definitely lawyer talk. He was trying to sleep with probably a 16-year-old girl, whereas there's no actual, like, proof that Ava wanted to sleep with anybody. Still extraordinarily inappropriate. Ava nor Doc should be content creators. I don't think that there's a predictive conversation to have to compare the two, because they're both gross, but Doc is, like, definitely way worse. Doc is absolutely way worse.
Doc made his statements. Denims was quick to make multiple tweets calling him out. Yet with Ava, she's pretty silent and is quick to question the accusers.
This is another instance where I feel like it's very bizarre that people are comparing the Dr. Disrespect situation to Ava's situation, because Dr.
You don't interpret the Bible? People constantly interpret the Bible. What?
Disrespect was a 33-year-old man flirting with minors. Ava was a 20-year-old trying to make stupid jokes with minors. One of them is like, dude, what the fuck are you thinking? You're crazy.
They're both very bad. I think the fundamental issue I'm having is that they seem to downplay in general. Like, I have the similar take of, like, I think that they were edgy jokes, but it sounds like to them that means that it's perfectly okay, the energy that I'm getting from them. To me, I don't think Ava should be a content creator anymore. I think that they've shown that they're irresponsible and can't handle being a content creator because they're putting people in situations that could potentially cause harm to a child, and that's way too much. It's beyond any line. They shouldn't have a platform at all. But these guys kind of think it is more casual. It's like not that big of a deal. But then again, a lot of people in like this BreadTube, I guess, community are very edgy when it serves them, or they feel it serves them. But they'll be very aggressive against other people who are edgy. So
This is you're trying to commit a felony, and the other one is like, oh my god, you are cringe. You are beyond cringe.
Casey Tron, Denham's friend, has also been downplaying this despite how aggressive she's been with the doc. This hypocrisy extends to those on the opposing side, with Sneeko and Nick Merckx downplaying what the doc did, though one side is more blatant about it. Denham's is—
Well, I don't think Nick Merckx— I mean, I think Nick Merckx came to the conclusion that he was wrong in his cutoff doc, so good for him.
Flat out admitted before that she doesn't think covering drama from her neck of the woods is worth her time, saying this in the same stream where she defends Keffels.
My perspective is, I don't like to spend my time going after other people that are on the left, right? And that's just because I think my time is better spent making fun of people on the right. You guys can disagree, and I'm not saying that no one should ever do this.
And I don't think you should really go after people. I think that you should just give reasonable, level-headed commentary on people based on, like, their actions, you know what I mean?
I'm not saying that I think it's bad to do this. I'm saying I don't like to spend my time fighting with people who are saying that they're on the left.
The fact she'll openly say this just shows how brainwashed her audience is.
I mean, again, this is both sides. Like, you know, conservatives do the same thing. But, like, yeah, it's weird that you'd publicly admit that you're comfortable enough.
Noah Samson is also guilty of this, as he'd go out of his way to accuse Think Before You Sleep of leading to Illumination's doxing. Yet only—
My man, you can't— indentured servitude, just to be clear, is slavery. I just want you to understand that. When you're told if you have a debt, you can either die or be a slave, you're not given a choice. And I would ask you, like, do you think it's appropriate that we would enslave poor people nowadays if they can't pay a debt? And I would say, no, you probably wouldn't think that that's true. So, like, please, you gotta, you know, you have to, like, if I hear somebody say that, like, oh, it's indentured servitude, it's not slavery, I lose, like, a lot of respect for that person, because, like, there's no way that you actually feel that way. Like, that's actually crazy to me. That's insane. That's a justifier for slavery.
A month prior, he was called out for being publicly friends of a known doxer. This is Matt Empanada, another BreadTuber who, just like Noah, hates Vosh and Xander Hall. Emp invited Noah to be part of his charity stream, with Noah making a now-deleted community post. He'd get some flack for this and not attend, with Emp mentioning this on the stream.
Yeah, someone in chat asked you about
I haven't seen him.
Ask about Noah. What about Noah Samson?
Noah said that he can't come on. I'm not sure if he can't come on because he got like yelled at by Vosh pedophile fans, or because he just actually can't come on. But it's one of those.
Damn.
The real reason is because he got called out by other leftists for supporting a known doxer, who sent targeted harassment campaigns against his critics. This guy also has a history making pro-9/11 statements, and is allegedly a creep. One of the guys he doxed was someone he was trying to sue, for alleging that he was a pedophile, which there is evidence for, though it's nothing super concrete. But yeah, Noah has never made a public statement—
What's the evidence?
—regarding Empanada, though he left up a community post regarding unrelated criticism. These two—
Well, I think there's a little bit of a difference. Well, okay, I don't know. Because, I mean, if you're saying there's just allegations that they're a pedophile, I mean, I don't know why he would call that person out if there was only allegations. So I don't necessarily care about that.
Two are still following each other on Instagram, so this tells me that Noah doesn't give a shit about harassment or doxing, as long as someone he likes does it. I mean, here's him initiating a targeted harassment campaign against Xander Hall.
Stop it.
He'll probably complain about being clipped out of context, but I mean, the full video's there. It's a full video. You can watch.
The problem with what you're saying, because you're like, well, history is rough. I understand your point. Like, hey, there are different moral frameworks for different periods in history. That's true. But if God is like this omnipotent, omnipresent, like all-knowing moral figure, then why is he allowing slavery in the first place? If God was, you know what I mean? Like, why was he allowing it in the first place? You know, we're not talking about human beings having evolving perspectives over time and generating empathy. We're talking about God's supposed pure word justifying slavery. That's the problem with that, right? So that's really more where I'm coming from. With that conversation.
Watch the whole thing. Also, if you do go there, don't say anything mean, please. Just comment Squid Gang with 6 Gs.
Yet he gives TBYS shit for doing the exact opposite, and discouraging his audience from leaving mean comments on Illy's video. Noah also ignored the fact that on multiple occasions, Illy sent her fans to mass report TBYS's video, despite it being pretty tame and not being considered cyberbullying under—
What's that one?
YouTube strict—
Oh, is that the— Yeah, you know, I don't know, man. That video was pretty terrible from Think Before You Sleep. Was that the obesity girl? Yeah, you know, I think any normal person that watched that video that's not terminally on would look at that and say, like, there were some mistakes or ways that girl could have spoken better, but it's very clear that she was having a conversation about her upbringing as a person, and how, like, you know, her personal perception of weight had a negative impact on her, which I've been there, right? And then Think Before You Sleep kind of interpreted it poorly. I don't know if it was on purpose. I mean, I think that this is the problem. I think that she had a pretty relatable video about, like, growing up with, like, personal, we'll say, body perceptions of oneself and how that can be negative for you. I remember going into school and not eating the whole day because I thought that was going to help me lose weight. And that was kind of the, you know, that's what, there wasn't a lot of education on weight loss back then, and then it ended up having a negative impact on me, and that there could be things better, and sometimes you have to like maybe care a little bit less. And it could have been better, but it was really like a pretty positively emotional storytelling of a situation, which I thought was great. I think Before You Sleep has definitely wants to interpret things as anti-woke as possible, and so he came into there with no like actual emotional understanding of what she was talking about, and made like assertions based on that. And so like, yeah, I think it missed the mark. Was it harassment? I don't know if it was harassment, but it was definitely, in my opinion, a very disconnected video from like the reality of the world. So.
Strict rules. He even downplays it by saying TVYS is just a crybaby for even considering this could lead to deplatforming. Oh, and speaking of crybabies, 5. They're crybullies. Many of these creators make content poking fun at, criticizing others they dislike. Though what I've noticed is that when these guys get backlash themselves, they plead innocence and act the victim. This is so common that I literally have loads of examples. The first one I'll bring up being from Noah, who made a hippiest on Vosh and then debated him. Noah came across as spineless and couldn't properly debate against any of Vosh's points, and then took the video down. He then put the video back up once the hate died down and made another. Ever since then, he's declined to do another debate, still mulling over how badly Vosh whooped his ass. Jeez, imagine losing a debate to someone who jerks off to images of little girls. Now, with Jake Doolittle, he gets
Interesting way to say that. Oh, okay.
blows it back.
I guess true, but also weird.
Flash on his H3 video, making an Instagram story after Ethan teased a new podcast episode. He'd use death threats to bait sympathy, as if every big YouTuber doesn't get them. Ethan was actually debating not covering Jake's video, but Jake still kept the video up until an hour into the podcast.
Oh, he just privated it. Well, it's too late, bro.
Oh,
is
it now?
That's right. No, it's too late. It's too late, Jake.
Oops. Oh
you
God.
had all 3 fucking
God.
weeks to do it, man. He's watching, I'm assuming.
Yeah, probably.
Jake, you had 3 weeks, and every comment
That was a fun time, though. That was a good content day, I'll say that.
on the video was like, this is a bad take. Social media, this is a bad take. Nobody was down with it. And it took him until now, for some reason, when I'm here actually defending myself. Like, bro, you have a public video up with like 125,000 views, and people that aren't familiar with me and my show can take away a really nasty impression of me. So of course, I have every single right to come here and respond. And the fact that you just took it down now is not going to save you, brother. You might as well just bring it back up.
Public that shit.
I recommend
They just own it for the money, baby.
you watch this segment. It's 3 hours of Ethan satisfyingly destroying Jake. It took Jake over a week to make an apology, where he gives no context and says a bunch of cliche gobbledygook.
My intention was to stand up for a specific group of people.
Okay.
But instead, I came across
I remember covering this.
as
you can look it up on YouTube.
an asshole. I didn't consider how my words would affect others, and for that, I'm very sorry. I've also come to realize that no amount of explanation can undo the impact of that video. And so for the discomfort or hurt that it caused, I also apologize.
He'd take his original down, though I managed to archive it on my second channel. He then placed a copyright takedown request, which he did have the right to do, though it's obvious he did this because he wanted the drama that he started to go away. When he took his apology video down a month ago, the same thing happened. Though when he placed the takedown request, I noticed that he put it back up. Yes, this guy was going to quietly take it down, though when I caught it, he decided to undo that. What a coward, man. These guys always make the lousiest apologies, where they try to take responsibility for as little as possible, until that gets them more hate. This happened with Zayn, who made various tweets only apologizing for the most egregious points he made, like when he spread false rape threat claims made by Sneeko towards Brandon Buckingham.
Oh yeah, I remember those. That fucking situation was crazy. Sneeko is never gonna live that false accusation down, and he shouldn't, because he's a fucking dumb little bitch.
Friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape.
Though he stuck by many of the other claims made, like that Mudahar is transphobic for the Keppel's thumbnail.
I forget the exact situation. Okay. From what I remember of that situation, Sneeko was being an asshole to Brandon, and then they started like fucking with each other, and then Brandon said something like, "Oh, your girlfriend wanted to fuck me," or something. It was something really stupid. And Sneeko's like, "Oh, he threatened to rape my girlfriend," blah blah blah, and he was going on about that. So
Zayma then ran
definitely rational, definitely the rational male there.
on Discord about the hate, effectively getting off social media after deleting the video. I find this funny because he was talking about how he was low on money since his videos barely get views anymore, and he hasn't uploaded in 3 months. Then we get to Nick,
Yep, he really needed to go the TikTok route instead of the false accusation route there.
who should get the world record for making the most apologies to a single case of drama. There's at least 5 I can
I think that like his newest apologies, newer-ish apologies, were pretty solid. They're a couple months old, but those were pretty solid, man. Like I'm kind of like I think that Nick is a genuine guy. Those ones seem to be like reasonable, like genuine apologies for his bad behavior. So I'll give him that much. You know, and you guys know I know everything, so they must be good. Get the fuck out of it. I can't click on this.
Think of, with the most concrete being the one he uploaded in January. He finally fully admits to fucking up in regards to the super mega drama, and shows regret towards the other mean-spirited videos he's made. Remember, this guy spent months avoiding responsibility, and only made this as a last-ditch effort to regain some of his audience.
I don't know if I believe that. It seemed like it was genuine.
After Nick's most recent apology, which he made on his third channel, Ethan would go live on Twitch and get asked about it. He gets to meet—
I mean, like, you know, if that was true, I think he would just continue to make the content he's been making. He seems to have, like, changed his content. I don't think that's true. Personally, that's just me, though.
Immediately angry, and basically pushes all the blame regarding the super mega controversy to Nick.
People were praising him for the vid. Yeah, annoying commentary watchers and liars were saying this is such a good video because you apologized to the guys that I like. And apologized for, you know, hurting their feelings, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know, supporting a false narrative about sexual assault, yeah. Or, well, at least I think it's false. She lied so much in her video, it's hard to give her any charity. But like she used that as a way to leverage false accusations. So
he literally apologized for playing the gif of fucking Matt Watson getting punched in the face. You're really apologizing for that? He's a rape apologist.
I don't know who Matt Watson is, but I mean, I think it's reasonable for people to think that he's a pedophile apologist. So
play it 10 times, 100 times. I can't be friends with people who are that, like, easy to fold. I can't trust people like that.
I mean, you were throwing him under the bus at, like, every opportune moment, so.
Ethan.
You guys got together to do, like, a coordinated attack on Super Mega, and then the second he was getting heat, you fucking threw him under the bus, so.
That's you. Dude, remember the Alex Rosen video? When you got shit for that, you made a Twitter thread basically victimizing yourself, and whining about people jokingly calling you a pedo, yet you have a history of loosely calling others—
Well, I don't think people were jokingly calling him one. I think people were calling him one because of the weird defense he had for fucking pedophiles. That's what it felt like. I don't think he is one, but, like, I could see why you would.
Pedos.
They think that I'm mature enough to have a 9-year-old daughter.
And be a pedophile, too, because you look like a pedophile.
So
Ethan is just as spineless as Nick, but he has more of a fake tough guy persona, as seen anytime he DMs a creator he doesn't like. About a week after that Nick stream, Ethan would go live again, with Lex this time, where they'd basically get rated by lyrics. I was watching this live and had a bit of fun trolling them myself.
You and Vosh to date. What? Why would you say that? He's a pedophile.
They basically get riled up at every little joke someone makes, acting as if they have the moral high ground while not realizing everyone is wasting their time.
Still think you should watch the Big Bungie video on you? Would wipe the slate clean with this chat. That video has fucking revenge porn in it. It is a deranged, like, fucking
I don't think it does. I think it might have had some of the censored pictures of his girlfriend OnlyFans porn, you know? But that's not really revenge porn, right? I think we all know that.
Illusion made by a 4chan basement dweller. I'm not watching that. You're sick in the head if you think there's fucking good critiques in it, and if you want to fucking make the points, repeat them. Regurgitate like you do all these dumbass questions.
Based Bungie. My favorite YouTuber, Bazy Bungie.
It's so funny to see you see. Dude, you haven't made a single point. I hope you're proud of yourself. But you haven't.
Yes, that's Lex's real
The crash out is real, baby.
laugh.
The crash
She got
out
that
is real.
Kamala Harris hyena screech.
Oh my god, you're so stupid!
I don't think Kamala Harris is quite that bad. Okay, let's just be fucking real here. All right, don't insult my Kamala Harris. That's a little too much. Okay, only because she's not that bad. All right.
Is it? Wait, I'm
You are so
getting
fucking
gaslit.
stupid. Average intelligence of my fucking haters, dude.
Dang.
Doesn't even know.
Users in chat need to go get a fucking job.
Oh, it was the wrong
Y'all
word. I
are
focused
some
on
lame ass limp blurp motherfuckers.
Instead of making a proper video debunking the hate he gets, he'd rather spend hours of his time debating random shitters. He'd end up privating this VOD, but archives do exist. Now lastly, I want to briefly cover Vosh's defenders slowly leaving the internet, or at least trying to. You got Keffels, who deleted her last few YouTube videos, and has been silently streaming since May. Then she pretty much decided to leave the internet, after messages leaked of Xander Hall threatening to beat her and her orbiters to death, all because they have small personal—
I think he had a little bit of a crash out there. Didn't somebody steal his money or something? I don't remember the specifics. I wasn't super interested in that. But didn't he like lose all his money or something? Somebody stole his money? It was fucking crazy.
Agreements, and the fact that Keffels was friendly with Sue on Head in the past. It was also revealed that Xander Hall abused his editor and didn't pay them, sticking by Keffels even after the Muda video was Tipster, a former commentary streamer.
So we got the tipster recognition here, baby.
who's married,
Oh,
yet
shit.
likes to hit on other women. He not only defended Keffels,
Based alert, am I right, guys?
but also defended Vosh's lolly obsession. He ended up removing all the videos on his channel after the backlash, but then put back up the videos he made after aligning himself with BreadTube. Finally, we get to Jalen, someone I've surprisingly never talked about.
Fucking Jalen. Oh shit! Oh, his exchanges PayPal for meth. Damn, dude, couldn't even do a cool drug, like Molly. I don't know. Drugs aren't cool, guys. Okay, that's a joke. What the hell was I gonna say? Oh, Jalen, dude, crazy fucking work, brothers. Crazy fucking work. Wow, Jalen has like not really created content in a long time. Wow. Okay.
On his channel. She's extensively a lolcow known for constantly getting themselves into drama, apologizing for it, threatening to leave the internet, and then coming back after a day.
And then saying the N-word a lot, which is rough stuff. Person. Well, I'd say brother. I mean, to me, that's gender neutral. I don't want you guys to think I'm transphobic, okay?
This has become known as the Jalen cycle, usually starting with them picking beef on a commentary channel or calling a black guy the gamer word.
No one else should care.
I find it just really funny that they say on Twitter, yeah, all transphobic people are pedophiles, and just being openly transphobic towards Ringo.
That's not being transphobic. I can make 41% jokes. Also, Ringo's also literally making the same jokes. Like, what the fuck you talking about, nigga? Like, what the
Man, I didn't know that guy's name was Nicholas.
fuck? Are you retarded?
Ooh.
Like,
You're not
fuck
black.
all
You're
of
not
you.
black. You're not black, Jalen. You're not allowed to
To be
say
fair,
that.
you're
not allowed to say that.
I don't know why Jalen interacts with these people. Like I don't know. They could definitely make better friends. Problem is that like they could make better friends on the internet if they would just distance themselves from these communities and get their shit together and then like solely make decent content. You know, because it's like, you know, who wants to be friends with somebody that's going around doing that? You know, because I still feel bad a little bit for Jalen. I guess I have a soft spot a little bit, but you know, if people associating themselves with you, it's just like your shit's so immature. It's like, you know what I mean? People just don't want to associate with that. It's just like kind of pathetic. Thank you so much for the 20-month small gut from Zegra. I can make my honey nut. I had to say Cheerio. Okay. Oh, I couldn't make my honey nut. I had to say Cheerio. Okay. What the fuck?
Are you racist? I am black.
Jesus,
I am
you're
black.
all hypocrites.
Yet Jalen will have a problem with people making trans jokes. She recently defended Vosh and Keffels, though the straw that finally broke the camel's back was her downplaying the Ava Tyson situation, which finally got her to leave the internet and rename her channel to Inactive.
Wow, good name.
Many BreadTubers rely on flimsy arguments that can easily be debunked, and when they do get debunked, they throw a hissy fit about it and act innocent. If you're going to shit talk on the internet, be ready for others to shit talk you, but many of these guys have no backbone and can't even take jokes. And that leads to my last point. 6. They're safe edgy. This is definitely the least important point, but it's something I've been wanting to talk about. I've noticed that many BreadTubers are safe edgy, as in, they target their jokes and quips at certain people, yet would get backlash from their audience if they did it to others. This term began after a trend was noticed, the influx of memes poking fun of British and French people. Yet if you make jokes like this towards other people, especially those in non-white countries, you'll get shit on by BreadTubers, who will try to label you as problematic or something.
Well, I mean, that's the whole conversation to have, though, right? I mean, this is the thing. Jokes are fun. Sometimes people will use jokes as a vehicle to like spread actual hatred. Chances are, if you're making a joke about British people being silly or stupid, there's probably a lower chance that you're dog whistling British hate than if you're making like a joke about like a black person, right? I think that's not an unrealistic perspective to have, right? Like I make, you know, like they're much more aggressive on YouTube about like jokes about Jewish people. I am Jewish and I've made jokes before, and they've taken like recently on my Clips channel, they took a joke around about like a Jewish joke that I made. That's because there's a lot of people that are like legitimately anti-Semitic making these jokes, right? I still think that like it's stupid. If I appealed it, maybe they would have undone it, but it's like not really worth my time on like a fucking Popular Clips channel. But like I understand the general perspective. So like if you're making fun of like America or something, it's not that big of a deal. But people a lot of times will use jokes in order to like be legitimately bigoted and hateful. So I think that's really what comes down to it with that.
Many of these guys don't even know what safe edgy is.
That being said, certain personalities do gravitate towards certain styles, like this safe sleazy kind of thing. First we had safe edgy, then safe horny, and now safe sleazy to finish the trifecta.
Why does he put a map of Europe for safe edgy? What does that mean? Wait, is that even Europe, or why is there a big gap there? Is this like Pangea or something?
I think that's the water.
Am I tripping? What does this mean? Okay, looks like Germany's missing, and then some other stuff. France. So is that like the countries they invaded? Well, no, Germany invaded Poland, and it's still there. Look, someone help.
This part of the video should help you, Noah. Safe edgy is basically comedy that appears risque, yet would never actually get you into trouble for saying it. As said in the section about fake nice guys.
Well, I mean, I try to do comedy like that. I try to be edgy in the best ways I can, but not get in trouble. Is that kind of the goal? You know, I do make fun of, I guess, the non-safe groups. Sometimes you'd say. But I think I do a decent job of, So.
These BreadTubers only make fun of the appearances of straight men.
But I also have no hatred behind anything that I'm saying, and I think I make that clear. I'm just having fun for the sake of having fun, so I'm not dog whistling.
Or those who politically disagree with them. But let's say, if they were to make fun of a trans person's appearance, they get eaten alive by their own audience. They basically trap themselves into a box they can't escape. He's not a BreadTuber per se, but this sort of thing happened with Ethan Klein a few years ago. On the rare occasion he said something actually edgy, he'd get crucified for it. I mean, Jake Doolittle was part of that audience, and he got offended over some jokes Ethan made about chronic illnesses.
Few things. Leading up to this video, I was a huge fan of the H3 podcast. When I was at my sickest.
So leading up to this, he was a huge fan. Right. The minute I brushed across something he cares about a little bit, brushed upon it, now he's done.
All bets are off.
I'm exposing him.
Too far.
Something that I really want to talk about with this topic is that safe edginess can exist on both sides of the political extremes. I mean, one side normalizes jokes about religion, white people, masculinity, while the
which I think are fine jokes to make.
other side normalizes jokes about racial and sexual identity.
I think those are fine jokes to make too. Again, you know, the problem is a lot of the jokes against like the more minority groups tend to be there seems to be a lot more hatred there, but
the opposing side will get offended by the other's jokes, yet will make equally edgy material relating to what they deem socially acceptable. I think you should make jokes about any of this, as long as it's a joke. You can't be talking about why America deserves 9/11 unironically and present that as a joke, because there's no punchline.
America deserved 9/11. I can't disavow fact, man. I can't disavow reality. That's not how that works, bro. Like,
even ironically, it's not funny because there's nothing else to the joke. That's why Shane Dawson's old comedy isn't funny. There's nothing to the joke besides doing something edgy. Even ignoring the safe edgy problem, I still wouldn't find these guys funny. Much of their humor comes from them being snarky or passive aggressive, which only works if you're likable.
Based passive aggressiveness?
If you've been paying attention to this video,
or a woman. No, I'm just kidding, nobody likes women.
You'll notice that these guys are the opposite of likable. They seem pretentious and all-knowing, never being able to make fun of themselves and have self-awareness. I mean, at the slightest joke at their expense, they get furious. I mean, here's Nick, making multiple different tweets raging over the most tame TikTok comment in existence. Though there is one BreadTuber I do find funny, Ryan Beard.
Very good.
I mentioned Ryan Beard at the end there because for the past 8 months, I've noticed his fair criticism of many of the other BreadTubers in this video. Now, I'm not a big fan of Ryan. In fact, I disagree with a few of his takes. Though at the end of the day, that's bound to happen. Not everyone is going to have the same thought process as you. What really matters is your ability to argue for what you stand for. I appreciate Ryan now because he's the only BreadTuber I've seen actively call out the rash and improper behavior of his peers. In pretty respectable ways, mind you. I first noticed this with Jake Doolittle's H3 hit piece, as Ryan left a constructive comment explaining why the video was bad. Jake, being a pouty child, deleted this comment and many others.
Yeah, I think a couple of the videos I've done, I think about Ethan is online, or Ryan came in and spilled some tea about Ethan behind the scenes, which is kind of funny, so.
Ryan would also call out Noah Samson for working with bad empanada, seeing him as a bad look. Then he'd criticize Keffels for trying to accuse Muda of being transphobic. When Gokunaru was discussing Zane's Wendigoon video, Ryan would show up in chat and rightfully criticize the guy, strangely agreeing with a Cheeto, which I thought could never happen.
See, that Cheeto? The hell?
This is why. This is the goated nature.
Oh, that's Gokunaru. Oh, okay.
With Gokunaru.
Just confused for a second.
Stream. We can have Ryan Beard and a Cheeto in the same fucking stream chat. Do you understand how universal this little experience is? It's like a cultural exchange, bro.
During Ethan's livestream meltdown, Ryan would chat on Lyric's stream.
Yo, what is it? Dude, what is this alliance? Is this Mr. Beard? Dude, it's Ryan Beard. Ethan needs to log off. He's clearly spiraling, but doesn't. What happened? Wait, did something happen to Ryan? Is this the real Ryan Beard? What happened to Ryan Beard since the last time I've seen him? Ethan needs to log off. He's clearly spiraling, but doesn't realize it. Him and Lex suck though, so whatever. Did somebody hack his accounts? Or have I just completely been out of the loop on Mr. Beard? Mr. Beard. Ryan Beard. Him and Lex suck though, whatever. What happened? I thought this guy was completely on like the super mega train. Maybe I just completely haven't been.
I don't think that Ryan was ever on the super mega train.
Familiar with him, but this is dude. This is an awesome chat message right here. He's clearly spiraling. I thought he was friends with this guy. Shout out to Ryan Beard. W. Him and Lex suck. Dude, let's fucking go. I'm not friends with Ethan anymore after he justified anti-Semitism and told.
I don't know, maybe Ryan fell out with Nick is Not Green. They had a podcast for like 2 weeks and then it ended. I think that Nick ended the podcast. I don't know.
Told me I was victim blaming when I got mad at Lex for lying about Nick is Not Green. Dude, let's fucking go. Dude, Ryan Beard is fucking spitting flames in the chat right now. I'm still just as much of a leftist, but Ethan makes other leftists look like freaks when he releases terrible videos, like the Alex Rosen one, so I have no desire to associate with him. Dude, based Ryan Beard. Hey man, I'll see you later, Ryan Beard. Don't worry though, if Ethan calls you a pedo, that just means that he wants you to get free therapy. Lol. Alright, I need to stop. See you guys later. Have a good one, man.
This is why I'm starting to like Ryan. Even if you disagree with something he said, this guy has, morals. He has morals that he's.
Hey, Ryan's not a guy. They are non-binary, okay? Apparently. I don't know if that's still true. Or they went back in the closet. After their conversation with Destiny, I don't even remember.
stands by can actually interact positively with those who differ from him. In other words, he's actually a mature adult. And honestly, not all BreadTubers are bad. Some of the others I failed to mention are just people
just the ugly ones are. I don't like this guy. He's fucking person, whatever. D'Angelo Walsh is annoying as shit, to be honest with you. Like, fully on that train at this point. It's so annoying. Such a virtue signaling, like, fuck. That's just so goddamn annoying. It's, I don't know.
I disagree with. You can criticize them for that, but they're not awful people. But like Ryan said, there are those like Ethan or couples that make them look bad, and the others on the side of the internet do a bad job at weeding them out. A lot of them are quiet on these topics, which only lets this madness continue for years to come. Even though many of the individuals I've discussed have had their reputations destroyed, they'll still try crawling back to regain relevance while acting like victims. They're just like the people they hate, spineless cowards that only care about their own reputation and the reputation of their political team, not realizing that they're doing harm to that team. Last thing I want to mention here is that Ryan is actually really funny.
I thought that was actually JoJo Siwa for a second.
He can take risks with his comedy and is willing to embarrass himself for it. But that alone earned my respect. It's not easy to do that, and it results in some pretty entertaining content. Him filming a parody of Sienna May's apology is goated. Maybe this is what Nick should do for his 15th apology video. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video.
I thought Nick's apology was solid. So, I think Ryan agrees with me too. I think he was in that stream there too.
Leave suggestions below for anyone you want me to cover in the next episode of Idiot Influencers.
Maybe you can cover my balls. Alright, cool video, man.
Now, I'm a very sex-positive person, and sex research is something that I'm very passionate about.
And
oh, okay.
When he means research, he means watching his girlfriend fuck other guys while he sits in the cuck chair sneak.
Oh, okay. I guess he wanted to get this dig in there and didn't find a place for it in the video. Okay.
Go style, taking notes.
Okay, alright. Incredible. Interesting. Is this something that I keep about 223? Alright, yeah, cool video. I mean, there's nothing to really say. I don't know. It's fine. I don't know. Cool.